Welcome in, everyone. Crowd here in Hamburg and viewers around the world. We've got game one of Lirry versus TheViper. The loser goes home. The winner advances to play Mr. Yo tomorrow. And we have Fractal. So it's going to be Byzantines for Viper, and it will be Bengalis for Viper and Byzantines for Lirry.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised about the pick from Viper. Obviously, he's been in love with Bengalis for a long time already on this map. And he got this if he was wishing for. And Byzantines is considered to be one of the best civilizations on this map as well. It is kind of, it's tricky, right? The map itself is very tricky. And Byzantines in general shine a lot, especially on maps which are tricky.
And I think Viper's goal here, we've seen it in the past in this tournament, and I think it's going to be the Wrath of play for Viper, right? He's going to get a castle up. He's going to go for the Wrath. He feels very comfortable there. The concern I have for Lirry here, even though he is the Byzantines and he can make cheap skirms, the skirms are not as good against the Wrath as they used to be. And I'm not sure that Lirry knows the ins and outs of that relationship, so he might try and force something like skirmishers as a defense to that, and he might get punished by his maybe inexperience lately in this matchup.
Yeah, gotta keep in mind with Byzantines it's very likely that we see some forward shenanigans as well, because they have the cheaper trash unit. So that's something we see very often from Byzantines there. Also very handy with the faster firing fire ship to gain map control on water. So a lot of benefits for the Byzantine player here, and Viper, he's taking a little bit of the safer approach here, walling already to his woodline. And yeah, I agree. I would say he is trying to go for the Rafa play. We could see him going for some monks as well, but yeah, it gotta be one of those two.
Also, Bengalis healing fire ships, right? You can. It's kind of at the stage where you can manage against the Byzantine fire galleys, which a lot of civs can't. If you're playing Bengalis or Portuguese or something like that, you can kind of trade off a little bit, especially with Viper's attention to detail. So we'll see if he tries to pressure on water or if he just tries to go for, you know, that dock block on the top there, because I think one of the priorities from Lirry is going to be to get into that fish from the Viper, and Lirry is going forward with the dock right away, and he's also going forward over here. That's 4 villagers, Jordan.
Yeah, that's the typical forward by the Byzantine player, and I personally like that a lot, right? You want to put on the aggression as much as possible. We see Viper here on the dock position, potentially, and yeah, we got the confirmation he just doesn't want to deal with any fire galleys from the Byzantine player. Lirry on the other side plays it safe as well. He doesn't leave it open. He wants to close it as well. And that means we will see full forward aggression from Lirry. I would expect archer range and the tower forward on the wood line. So
if he goes for the range, though, he's not really going to have enough wood to go for fishing ships or for a navy either. So it's taking resources away from that water play, which you might want to focus on a little bit more if you're Byzantines. But the early wall for Viper really benefiting him against his forward.
Absolutely. I mean, Viper obviously knows with Byzantines that's always an option you have to think about. And
tower first.
Yeah, tower first. He just wants to put on the aggression. Now, the main question now is how will Viper react? And we already see him. He doesn't want to have any tower shenanigans at all. He just plays it safe. Walls in the wood line, and I'm pretty sure he will wall the wood to the TC as well.
Oh, do you see that spearman? It was hidden behind the scout. It popped out of the barracks at exactly the right spot, and Viper was probably like, how did I just lose half my HP?
Yeah.
The spearman was hiding behind the scout, and Viper was pretty confident in winning that scout 1v1, so now he has to back up from that. Lirry's still 0 on stone. Viper walling behind this, and I wonder, because Viper went for that dock block with those 4 villagers up there, he might just take those around the shoreline to the very outside if he needs to run.
Most likely, right? Because he cannot run to the TC anymore. That path is kind of blocked and it would be too risky, especially with the way he's walling. So that would be the emergency plan for him. And we see Lirry, he doesn't even bother going to the TC. He's straight aiming for the woodline there. Yeah,
and Viper's on the run. So if you go for the dock block instead of the dock along the shoreline closer to the fish, like a lot of players go for, you can actually have the whole shoreline open to run like Viper is. It's going to take a long time, but once they're back there, they're going to be incredibly safe. And there is gold and there is stone back there. If Lirry cuts you off from that, Viper is on the way with those. Viper also making a counter tower, but deciding, because Lirry hasn't shown him any further towers, he doesn't need to complete that. He can keep the stone for later.
Yeah, exactly. And Viper, I feel like, is in a very comfortable position, right? He's on stone, so he doesn't have to worry about any aggression he cannot deal with. He's walling up his base as well, and if he's able on the left-hand side to get the walls up, then there's no way Lirry can do any damage, and I would say then Lirry's attack kind of failed there.
A very comfortable response to the forward here from Viper. I'm not seeing a lot of panic. It's like he expected this all the way. He went for the early wall. He moved the villagers along the shoreline like we saw, and this wall comes up just on time when he senses that Lirry is going to come around to the left side of his base. He still is making fishing ships as well, so Viper's going to have 3 fish in the queue, and Lirry doesn't have the resources to go for those fires at least early, as Viper now goes for a defensive tower on his berries.
Yeah, very interesting. So we will see 4 fishing boats for Lirry, and in the meantime, Viper is booming on the fish very heavily. Those 5 villagers have finally caught up on their task, managed to get the gold there. It was a long walk there, but they managed. And
well, she's doing it again. Okay, she's coming back, and Viper now waiting for the wood for mining camp, which he's going to build back there. So extremely safe gold now that he's gotten around to that side.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how Lirry wants to approach it now. We can see on his food account, food count is already at 400 roughly. So it won't take him too much time to advance to the next stage. Pretty sure he will be a little bit faster there. And now the question is, how do you want to approach it, right? With Byzantines, you obviously have the faster Imperial Age cost. And that's something which is very, very beneficial on this map because it's so close, right? So that's something he will have in mind. We already saw him play as Malay, and he went for the 1TC fast in play as well. So I would not be surprised to see him doing that as well.
Yeah, and he's going to have the fishing eco behind that because I don't think Viper's going to come forward and contest that. I think the approach is going to be something that takes advantage of the forward position you already have, right? It could be a siege workshop in Castle Age to keep the pressure. It could even be a castle if he wants to shift more villagers onto the stone. But like you said, that cheap Imperial Age for Byzantines, it should be massive here.
Yeah, absolutely. Viper building the market now, also upgrading wheelbarrow, so his economy is running very smoothly. Managed to get 10 fishing boats out already with the 2 docks pumping out, and yeah, now it's all about who reaches Castle Age a little bit faster. 200 food advantage here for Lirry, and the scout fight is going to be
Does
very
Viper
equal.
turn around and take that?
Obviously.
You just,
obvious.
Oh man, Viper, he wanted the 50-50, he loses the 50-50. Lirry still can't get in. Viper has a decent amount of stone in the bank, so the Ratha is definitely the player, and he's using the market a little bit. Wow. He is actually the first one up to Castle Age. Lirry does not have the second building yet, so a little bit of a timing advantage there for Viper. Not much, though.
I know this feeling which Lirry had to go through.
Not having the second building?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, everyone knows that feeling.
It's crazy, right? You feel like the perfect setup, perfect economy, you want to click, and then you realize the icon is not really available. So that kind of hurts. You rush then the second building with a lot of villagers, but yeah, it's just a small margin, right? It's not going to be game deciding.
We've seen this so many times in this map where someone is ignoring the idea of water pressure from their opponent. And then their opponent invests into War Galley, and you're like, is that really worth it? You know, once that dock goes down, though, especially if they're not expecting it, all the fish die. And then suddenly you're 10 eco behind, you have to drop farms. It's really, really infuriating when your dock dies and there's nothing to defend your fish.
Yeah, absolutely. That is why I personally like this map so much, because it is so hard to balance, right? The right amount of how much you invest into land, how much do you invest into water. And the thing is also the defender obviously has the advantage here because he has a little bit more time to react. And in the meantime, while your opponent has invested into the army, you're able to invest your economy. So it is very hard to balance, and we see Lirry pressuring the dock though. So Viper got the information, and he will...
Scout goes down. Scout goes down, and that villager comes out this way again. I wonder if he can add another dock behind that, like right up against the edge of that dock. So he has a... there it is. Yeah. The fallback plan for Viper. Add in a few galleys, maybe a demo from there, right? Lirry thinks he can get through quite easily if he goes for War Galley right away, which he is. But there's going to be a follow-up dock from Viper if that villager doesn't get sniped. I don't think Lirry can range that, really, from behind the dock. And there's the castle from Viper. There's the monastery from Viper. No secrets from Lirry, though. He's Byzantines. If we look at his Fog of War, on the center area. He's made so many outposts. He can see everything, man. He sees everything. He's like a satellite.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is one of the biggest advantage of the Byzantines with the town patrol, which they have available to them right upon reaching Castle Age. And now with Viper, you obviously don't want to go into the fire galley fight against Byzantines. What he's doing is getting the galleys out and try to defend the dock from
You know what he
behind.
could do over here? He could bring a monk along the shoreline.
Yeah, we have seen
and
that.
sit it right there
Yep.
and just convert the fires.
I think he will do so. He will try to get the map control with the Rafa and then support his water units with the monk.
That could be really solid. Behind this, Lirry's playing very smart today, walling up. I know it's only palisade walls, but still, it's an early warning system for the Ratha, right? You get your skirms over there to counter them. You can see the skirms not doing as well against the Ratha as they used to. I think they negated some of that bonus damage earlier, and Viper manages to save that.
Oh, that's very interesting. He had like 3 full volleys and still didn't manage to kill that one. So the Rafa obviously a very strong one.
The reason I brought that up earlier is because I saw Lirry win a game on Arena once against full Ratha with Burmese skirms. So like, I think secretly he has a lot of faith in skirms against Ratha, and it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see that shape out very soon, I suppose, because we see the elite skirmisher upgrade, and Viper, he continues producing Rafa. We have 6 on the field already, and he keeps on going there. A monk chasing as well. Now, getting the relic here, and ballistics is in for Lirry. Dave, we never see ballistics before 40 minutes from Lirry, so that is very interesting to see.
Well, he realizes the Ratha are a threat. He wants to kill them with the skirms, and he took out the 2 skirms on the other side. Dock for Viper. Remember, that's the second dock is at half HP. Viper now building up monks in the center. He's not sending any monks over to help against the Navy because he's making more war galleys of his own. And now Sanctity is on the way for him. It's only 5 Ratha for Viper, but the eco is still looking solid.
The eco looks solid. However, if we take a
Lirry.
look at Lirry's position, that's not looking bad as well. Currently, we are sitting on 9 fishing boats. They're still fishing efficiently here. And the castle in the middle is just a perfect position, right? Everything here screams to me for a faster in play. And that could be very dangerous.
Oh, great micro on those monks from Viper. You don't really see the dodging of ballistics with monks very often, but he obviously hit the stop command as he was pathing those over. That's really cute from Viper. And Lirry didn't actually get any damage there. Gillnet's also on the way from Viper. Sanctity now in. Devotion now in from Viper. But there was a lot of skirms in that archer range, so he needs to back away. Lirry angling towards Imperial Age. Viper, will he sense this? I think he still hasn't seen the castle.
He hasn't seen the castle, and yeah, I think he sensed it to a certain degree because that's always something you expect from the Byzantine player. But I have to say, Lirry was able to get so many skirms out, right? So he's having the map control. He doesn't really have to worry about anything. He's walled, so right now he definitely will favorize his position.
Favorize?
I knew it. When I had it in my mind, I was like, I'm sure
for some Jordanisms here.
Okay, it only took me 23 minutes.
Favorizer.
Oh no.
It's begun.
It has begun. It won't be the last thing.
So Mangonel there. Does Viper see the castle? Does Viper see the castle?
He doesn't even see
the castle. So if you see a castle like that, it's instant. Okay, he's going up to him.
Yeah.
Because why else would he make that as Byzantines, right?
Yeah.
He's got the skirm to defend. He needs a castle to make trebs once he's in imp, and unfortunately for Viper, his first notification of the castle is going to be on the Mangonel, and Lirry takes that out. Great defense so far from Lirry.
Yeah, the thing is, in Viper's position, if you see that castle there, you already know, trebuchets are going to be on the field very soon.
As soon as he sees the castle, stops queuing units, starts thinking Imperial Age himself.
There are 2 options. Either, as you mentioned, or he thinks, I cannot stop the imp timing from the Byzantine player. I have to go all out and go for Rafa and Siege Workshop, but I think your option would be a little bit better here.
I think like the the elephant rams could be an option. If you're going to stay in Castle Age and you have the fishing eco behind that, like skirmishers aren't going to counter that very well.
Exactly.
If you can push the castle, that'd be fantastic. And now it's Lirry actually being pushed back on water. But Lirry's got a decent amount of Navy in there. I think he's queuing up a demo as well. And he's got some war galleys behind. That's a Byzantine dock. too, so it's going to take a little bit longer to go down. Viper shouldn't be into the fish from Lirry anytime soon, and look at Lirry's resources as he's about to hit imp. Wow.
He could go imp right away again, and that dog is going to be alive for quite some time. Dave, I have to say, the fidelity of Lirry's units is just insane.
You don't even know if that fits. He learned that word 2 days ago.
I promise you, I'm gonna use that one. I hope I used it in the right way.
No.
No, really. I even asked the internet. I was sure.
Yep, well.
Okay, never mind then. So, Trebuchet are on the field very soon, and now let's see the micro. I think, yeah, Lirry's just backing up here with Brace, so he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Neither player with a second TC. It's just one TC play from both. Viper's already starting to set up the fish traps there. He's running out of fish on the water, so he's going to make some more of his own. Lirry's still floating a lot of food, but he's getting his text in. He's getting chemistry now. The Trebuchet is rolling forward, another Treb in the queue. And Viper actually goes for another dock block, or he's going to attempt to go for another dock block on the water, but I don't think the villager can actually get there.
Yeah, the thing is, right now, he doesn't want to think about land and water. He just wants to focus on land, try to hold as long as possible. But man, Dave, this is not looking healthy.
Elephant coming out from Viper. Husbandry on the way from Viper, but the Siege Workshop is really close there as Viper has expanded out to this extra area. Lirry has not. No. Lirry hasn't cut through to the extra area. I think there's still some, you know, trees in the way as Viper was unable to get to that dock, and all these fish traps he just invested into are going to go down.
Yeah, this is so painful for the Viper because he doesn't have a good food economy right now, and a lot of fish is going to be taken down, so he will have 3 or 4 on food. So fortunately for him, the Rafa doesn't cost any food, so that's nice, but this is painful.
A little bit too late with the monks, too. If he got there earlier, maybe it would have been better. I think he didn't realize that the villager couldn't get to that dock. It, like, pathed weird. He's diving in now with the Ratha. One last-ditch attempt here to gain control of this game, but the skirmishers, even though they tank a big shot there, are enough to deal with the Ratha. The castle is there, and the Trebs, they might go down, but I think at least one of those is going to survive.
Yeah, it's just not working as well as Viper was hoping for, and he's forced to tab up. Lirry was just too dominant here with the skirms and traps.
I'm wondering if that's the civ that Viper didn't want Lirry to go for. I'm wondering if that was it, right? Viper tried to manage it, but at the end of the day, I think the big thing was not spotting that castle when Lirry built it. So Viper was just a minute or two late on realizing Lirry was up to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And looks like we're going to go into game number 2 here. Lirry up 1-0 over the Viper, and it's going to be migration. Viper playing as Malay. Great migration civ, really great on the timings, but also Italians for Lirry. Exact same thing, great on the timings, great on migration.
Yeah, I personally prefer Italians, to be honest, because the advantage you have regarding the dock upgrades, they cost only 50%, right? With Malay, granted, you have the timing attacks, but Italians also have cheaper fishing boats, so I have Italians as a little favorite here. What about you, Dave?
Do you think it's a forward dock attempt? I personally, I think I would rather have Malay, just because I think you're generally going to have the eco lead with the faster uptimes, and the meta so far has been the forward dock attempts, and I think Malay could be really, really solid with that.
I think both of them will stay defensive in this matchup. I don't see neither of those civilizations.
Well, I don't think you ever want to forward dock Malay.
No,
because if they have a dock there with their vision, they'll see it so quickly, and it's just luck at that point whether they have a dock in the center area.
And I think both of them are very confident with their civilization as well. It was a high prioritization for both, so in general you don't want to take the risk here, play it safe here, and also it feels like to me the dock position is an indicator as well that we will see both of them playing defensively, because if you go for the forward dock, you want to have your dock very straight to the middle island in the front. That's not the case, so I'm expecting defensive play here. Maybe even go for the fast castle, which we rarely see on migration.
I mean, you could do it with both of these civs, right? And then if you feel like your opponent's going fast castle and you're not going for the forward dock, as we see the discrepancy.
That is my word, Dave.
Discrepancy between the vision between the Malay dock and the Italian dock. If you feel like your opponent's going fast castle, and you're not going for that forward dock strategy, you already feel so far behind. So you kind of almost have to do it yourself.
You have to. And that's the tricky thing about migration. It feels like rock, paper, scissors. The one who ups to fuel age faster, and if your opponent goes for the forward dock, then you have the advantage.
Yep.
If you go for forward dock and the opponent goes for fast castle, then you have the advantage. And the other thing is if you go for defensive fast fuel age and the other one goes for defensive fast castle, then he has the advantage. So it's very, very tricky. And it feels a little bit luck dependent as well, and Civ dependent.
What if you go for a defensive fast feudal castle forward dock? What about that combo?
That has never been done.
Is that like the snake combo in rock, paper, scissors, snake?
That's the one which beats 2, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
that could be an option. We have not seen it yet, but
exactly.
You know, the tournament is still going on.
Unexpected. So I think it's going to be a fast castle, not from Lirry, that's for sure. He's got 4 fishing ships. Can he pull that off with Italians? Not likely. And Viper is going for the second dock here. So they're just going to get to feudal, make sure there's no threats, and then build up potentially galleys at home.
Yeah, they will. And also, the way both of them are approaching it is the safest one, because that way you can always adapt to any situation. You cannot die. Yeah. And you obviously know you might have the disadvantage if the other one goes for the fast castle. But it's not that big, and yeah, just the safest play. We see 4 villages on gold here by Lirry. Viper on the other side has 3, so that is an indicator for both players going just for a galley play instead of the fire galleys.
Why do you think it's 4 from Lirry instead of 3? Because usually it's 3 if they're going to go galleys. Is he planning? I mean, he's adding 3 more fishing ships. He might just be planning like defensive galleys into a faster castle age. At which point he needs the extra villager for the gold to go up to castle.
I think so. There could also be an option to buy food with selling 100 gold. That's something you have in mind as well, depending on the situation. So it feels like you have a little bit more adaptation possibility.
So Viper gets there first. The galleys are on the way. We see double bid axe for both players, and it's fire galleys from Lirry. So more of a defensive approach. Try and stop Viper doing damage, and then try and click up to castle age relatively quickly from Lirry, I would suspect anyway.
So we have
third dock from Viper. Okay.
Yeah, third dock. Both players are kind of doing exactly the same thing. And now, for me, always the interesting part is how are they going to manage army production versus fishing boat production? 9 fishing boats for Lirry. That will give him a boost over the 6 fishing boats of the Viper. So we will see how that is going to unfold very soon. Market is being placed here by Lirry as well. So he's, you know, soon flirting with the idea of advancing to Castle Age.
Yeah, and the 9 fishing ships, right? It was a big investment. It meant that he couldn't really go 3 dock galleys like Viper. And the fire galleys, at the end of the day, don't scale as well as the galleys. So Lirry's just trying to keep Viper away from him at the moment before he clicks up to Castle Age.
Yeah, interesting as well is if you see that, that is kind of an indicator that Lirry doesn't really want to focus 100% on water. He wants to have the hybrid playstyle, fire galleys on the water with not too much micro and focus on the land. Most likely he will have some light cav there as well. And if you go for the galleys, you have to commit more onto the water because you have the strong unit, right? More micro-intensive, but also the stronger ones. You should be able to win water. The question is, how is he going to balance the land versus water play?
So very, very fascinating. As soon as Viper saw the fire galleys, he queued up 3 more fish.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, that is not coming over to my side. That is a purely defensive play. He's going to try and micro down the fire galleys on both sides while repairing his galleys. So great unit management thus far from Viper, and now he's angling towards Castle Age as well. Lirry's already clicked up here. Viper will get up at a similar time with Melee, but a great timing and a great build from Lirry. I'd love to see the transport ship from him come out soon as well, so we can get that scout to the middle island first.
Yeah, that's something we will see very soon, I suppose. And now the crucial upgrade for Viper with the fletching. With fletching, you're able to push back those fire galleys very, very comfortably. But he seems to be playing not so aggressive. So maybe he knows on both sides it's going to be a little bit more micro-intensive, and therefore he wants to set up his economy properly before engaging in any sort of shenanigans.
So transport ship comes out from Lirry. He is likely to go to the middle of the island. If you're in Viper's position and you suspect that Lirry, like you'll see his castle time, you suspect he's transported first, do you deliberately go to the side, or do you just land in the middle anyway?
I would go to the side because you should know that the middle will be challenged by Lirry very, very hard. And we have seen him play Migration, I think, at least 2 times in this tournament already. And Dave, I have to tell you, he loves those mangonels.
Yes, he does. Well, on every map. The Arabia game yesterday, right?
22.
Lirry is just evolved into a mangonel beast. And he never brings it out until he's got 2 or 3, and you can do nothing about it. Like, as soon as you learn that the mangonels are there, you're already screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta keep in mind, though, the previous matches he played, Dravidians was involved as well. They don't have any monk techs which allow them to convert the siege, so that's very helpful. Yeah. So with Malay, that's a different story, obviously. Now War Galley upgrade is coming in 10 seconds, and once that is in, then those galleys will have to retreat here.
Still no transport ship from Viper. Still no transport ship. So Lirry got Loom. Lirry transported the villagers over there. Lirry's trying to block the galleys from Viper, but Viper squeezes his way through there, and he's going to retreat until he gets to Castle Age himself. Careening is an interesting upgrade for Lirry. That makes these fires a lot more powerful against the galleys and eventually the war galleys from Viper. That's +1 armor on the fire ships, which is actually a big deal.
It is a big deal. Usually we don't see it. However, with Italians, that's something you can get if you have the eco upgrade or the proper eco, right? Because it's just half the cost. And we see, I would say, a bad engagement here for the Viper, exploding with the demo here, but there shouldn't be too many losses.
I like the fact that Viper added the fire galleys in front of the galleys. So Lirry is busy chasing those galleys, and the fire galleys are getting chip damage here on all of Lirry's ships, and Viper's actually going to defend, except he's brought another army over to his docks, but it looks fine-ish as long as he can get some more fire galleys out there. He's waiting for the war galley upgrade to come through. Fish are running right through the fires. A couple of them are going to go down, but if Viper can clear this army of fire ships from Lirry and have some galleys left over by the time war galley comes in, he should be fine.
He should be fine, but for Lirry, that is exactly what he wanted, right? He wants to put the aggression on water as long as Viper doesn't have the proper technologies in. And
still no transport.
No transport.
It's university instead.
That's the thing. If you commit onto the war galleys compared to your opponent with the fire galleys, you know exactly that water has to be the main focus for you, because on land you're just not going to be able to challenge him there. And yeah, he will try to win the water, get the economy going with the water then, and will take some time to go for the land. But
this is a dangerous navy for Viper.
Yeah, exactly.
Very dangerous. With ballistics, with a couple fires in front. And Lirry's still got 9 fishing ships behind there. Like, Lirry is just hoping that careening is the best upgrade ever.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing standing in between him and losing all of the water and all of his fish.
Yeah. Lirry's plan right now is to buy as much time as possible, capitalize on the fish he has right now, and yeah, Viper needs to get the kills here as soon as possible. Otherwise, he will fall behind. Yeah,
that's a great play, keeping those 3 fires in the corner, so he can go for Viper's fish, Viper's reinforcements, or if he builds up enough, he can come in for a flanking maneuver behind Viper's main navy.
Oh, and that's what Lirry is planning to do here. He's trying to get Viper more into the river, I would say, and once he is a little bit too deep in there, he will come from the side, from behind, and then get everything trapped.
If you're Lirry, you almost want to give him a couple vills here just to force him to be over here, and I think that's exactly what Lirry was doing. He was hanging out, and suddenly Lirry's here. How many fires? He's got 11. Viper's like, oh no, he's trying to wiggle his way out of this one, but that's so much damage coming in from Lirry. What a flank from Lirry with the hidden fire ships. All of the ships from Viper at the bottom of the sea.
That was a perfect play by Lirry. Not did he lose the border, he even managed to completely clear the entire army from Viper, and now Viper is forced to go for the fire galleys himself, even though that's not something he really wants to focus on.
He's still no transport ship.
Yeah.
Viper's entire play here was, I'm going to win water. Lirry's going to go to the middle. He's going to invest there, and I'll have the advantage on water. But Lirry, with careening, with the placement of those fires, able to clear the entire navy from Viper. Viper comes around with another navy, but this fire ship mass that we saw before from Lirry just shifts over to the other side, and Viper, despite killing a couple fish, is still going to have to retreat.
Yeah, and if we take a look at Lirry's resources, keeping in mind he's Italians, he is going to be able to click up to Imperial very soon.
And then it's like fast fire, and all of Viper's effort is for naught. He just gets fully cleared off the water. I think he might be getting fully cleared over here as well. Lirry is pushing on this side with more fires, and it's just so difficult now for Viper to control the water because Lirry cleared up that big, massive war galleys that he had before.
If we take a look at the army size, it's very equal, right? But that's not the position Lirry Viper wants to be. Imperial Age should be coming in very soon. Does Lirry have 2 Imperial Age or Castle Age buildings? That's the question, because that's what we saw previously. And this time he's on point, Dave, and he clicks up to Imperial Age.
Imperial Age. And like from this point forward for Viper, you've invested everything. 1 TC Eco, Ballistics, War Galley from 3 docks at all times. You see imp from your opponent, water is no longer an option. Where do you go?
And he's
you
not
don't even have
middle.
anything on land. You don't even have a transport.
That's crazy. That's so well done by Lirry, and that's what I mentioned, right? Migration is a very tricky pick against Lirry because I feel like that's a home map for him as well. It feels like Lirry has figured that map out completely perfectly. And yeah, Viper is kind of scrambling to get an advantage here.
Even gill nets from Viper, that seems a little out of place, especially seeing the Navy from Lirry and the amount of fire ships that are coming in from weird angles. Maybe he'll expand his fish economy. I was kind of looking, if he's getting gill nets, I was looking for a pond on his island that he was going to start making fish traps on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got a decent Navy though. Viper is pushing up, but we're very concerned about in a minute and a half's time, Lirry going for fast fire and just pushing Viper completely off of the water. And if he's completely off the water, he's nowhere else because he hasn't made the transport.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what options does Viper have here? He needs to get to the middle as soon as possible, otherwise he doesn't have any standing ground there.
He will have a decent imp time if he continues massing res because he is melee. So it's going to take him, what, a minute and a half or something to get to imp, but that's a lot of time for Lirry to get the text in. That's a lot of time for Lirry to expand his control in the center, to get all the relics, which he already has. 5 relics in the monastery in the center for Lirry. And Lirry is just not wanting to take this fight over here. He's just going to send the fire ships a little bit further back, keep them garrisoned in the docks, build up until he's in, and he can get fast fire.
Yeah, this is just a dream scenario for Lirry. Just backing up here, he needs to get the fast fire upgrade. And once that one is done, we are talking about 45 seconds remaining.
Oh, he spotted the monks. He's got ballistics. He spotted the monks. That could be good. And Lirry proves that he can dodge ballistics with the slowest unit in the game as well.
That's no problem for him. He's always doing it another day in the office. And yeah, we see economy-wise, both are very equal, also in terms of resources collected. But there is one topic about economy. The other one is also about positioning and technology advantage, and that is clearly in favor of Lirry.
Yeah, fast fire is in. So tough for Viper. He's still got the fires over on this side, kind of providing him cover a little bit. But the war galleys aren't going to be doing much damage at all with careening and fast fire complete, as Viper also goes for careening himself. And now he's going to have to make a break for it. But look at home. All of his fish are exposed now. His reinforcements are exposed. And Lirry's just casually controlling everything. If you look at this mini-map here, Lirry is absolutely everywhere.
Kind of feels like Lirry is playing against AI. He's expanding so well, has the control of 66–70% of the map.
Yeah, it's completely free real estate.
It's insane.
It's insane. And Viper is 3 seconds away. 13 war galleys. Probably not enough. Bracer comes in right away. Galleon tech should be a priority here for Viper if he can keep these war galleys alive. He's actually going to go for fast fire first. There's still a chance here for Viper. Like, there is a lot of water on this map. If you completely control water, you can do some dangerous things, but he's got to be running out of res on his home island. He still hasn't gone to the middle. He's got 1 gold pile left, stone pile, and a few trees, but 57 villagers on that little space.
I think that's what he's basing his strategy on. Try to somehow win the water and survive with the resources.
Look at the condos.
They are ready, Dave. They are ready. They're expecting something nice.
You're absolutely correct. This is like playing versus AI.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not sure who's the AI, but
Kind of both are playing like that.
He's waiting for it, and Viper just got Loom. Viper has careening, and Viper almost has enough stone for a castle. So maybe the idea from Viper is, when I come to the middle, like right now, as he loads up the villagers, I'm just going to drop a castle right away. Lirry should suspect that. He knows Viper's not on the middle at all, and he's got the military just hanging out ready to deny that castle.
It feels like Lirry in this
game.
game.
He tried it again, and Viper's like, nah, I ain't playing that game, bro. He found it.
He found it? Okay, yeah, never mind. It felt like he's running into it anyway, but yeah, Viper, he doesn't do the mistake twice here.
Look at where he has to build the castle.
It's so desperate. It's so
that's
desperate.
The one spot that, Lirry can spot it, but still, it's on the edge of that island. That is a waterfront property right there with that castle. And that's a desperation castle for Viper because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, that is... In Viper's position, usually if you land the island, you want to go a little bit more forward to get more map control, but he is kind of fearing, he doesn't have the knowledge, but he's kind of fearing that there is so much position from Lirry already that he's forced to place it on the edge here.
And it goes up.
It goes up.
It goes up.
The question is, how long is it going to survive?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a main focus for Lirry here.
You know, it's actually kind of amazing. If you look at the res collected versus the map control and versus the way this has gone so far, Viper is not that far behind. He's got handcart. He's got like decent upgrades as well. Galleon upgrade just kicked. And now suddenly he's going for a TC on the middle as the Karambits come out to fight the condos. And Viper might manage to get himself a foothold on that middle island after delaying for so long.
Yeah, he definitely will. He's slowly but surely expanding there. Water seems to be a kind of stalemate here as well, because it's so hard to be the aggressor here. So the focus will shift from the water play more toward the land, but Lirry should have the clear advantage. However, very interesting, Viper has a 400 score lead here.
Yeah, mostly because of the Navy. Lirry tries it again. He's like, I like this corner. I'm just going to sit in this corner. You can't go past there because I'm going to flank you again. Lirry at 99 villagers versus the 63 from Viper as the Karambits come forward. They're going to change that number a little bit, but not too much. Viper just trying to keep Lirry away from his base on that middle island as Lirry now goes for his first castle of the game, and Viper is going to go for a siege workshop and take that gold. And
Lirry has landed Viper.
Oh, Lirry's got units on Viper's base, so it's condos on Viper's base. The castle is not at home. It's forward, so no Karambits possible, and Viper's just going to have to TC and quick wall this out.
You never want to place a second TC
there
on this island. So this is already great benefit or great value for Lirry here. And yeah, it's just going to be so tough for Viper to go back here.
I heard the crowd go through the 3 stages of grief there. That demo.
3 stages? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's where the hope is, right? You want to have a good demo shot, and a little bit disappointed if that doesn't occur. But yeah, the landing itself, you feel like it's not a big deal, right? But it forces so much reaction. And if you take a glimpse at the population, 141 for Lirry and 94 for Viper. He's looking very desperate right now.
Yeah, Viper, I mean, he's almost got enough stone for another castle. The food eco is not looking great from him. He has managed really well to keep the villagers coming out of the TC, though. Like, 2 minutes and 13 seconds of idle TC time in a 34-minute game. Super solid from Viper, and that's the only reason he's managed to somewhat keep up in the eco with Lirry, but still, Lirry 111 villagers at the moment, handcart coming in, and still full control of this middle. I am somewhat surprised that Lirry hasn't put a little bit more priority on kicking Viper off that center area, but these raids are amazing.
I'm surprised as well. It feels like even though he has spotted Viper landing there, he hasn't had a big priority on kicking him off there, but I guess he just feels very comfortable and wanted to shift the focus on landing Viper's main island, which is you know, very, very smart as well.
Yeah, and these condos aren't a big investment for Lirry. He's got plenty of gold. He's got good food eco. If he can distract Viper and keep him garrisoning the vills and not focus on pushing out in the middle area, that's perfect. As Viper, you know, sometimes I watch Viper in a situation like this, and I'm like, bro, where's the urgency? Yeah. You know, he's making 1 barracks with a villager. Yeah. And for the eventual pushback, it's like, dude, do you not see the same situation that we're looking at right now? You are stuck in a corner. Yeah. You need to do something, and he just doesn't seem to care.
perfect example is him building castles in random spots with one villager, right?
Yeah.
Very like, where's the urgency, as you mentioned? And now Lirry, we finally see him going forward here with the siege, and I'm pretty sure we will see a forward castle by him as well. That's something he needs to add as well to have the siege safe there.
Yeah, the Galleon's not really providing so much value for Viper, and that's a big part of that is that Lirry is just non-stop with these fires. From both directions, right? He holds Viper away from his own base, and that castle is not messing around. That castle is knocking at the door to Viper's economy over there, if we can call it that, as Viper desperately tries to make a few more archer ranges. That's urgency from Viper. Three villagers building a building is urgency, and Viper, GG's, Lirry up 2-0 with an impressive display on migration. Maybe a little bit of a backfire on the strategy there from Viper. Viper likes to go for his opponent's home map.
Right.
If he finds himself down 2-0, which is a very, not so familiar situation for him most times. He likes to go for his opponent's map so he can have his coming home. Anyway, we got Lirry playing as the Mayans, Viper playing as the Hindustanis. Now, I've seen this matchup many times before. I am of the opinion that if this gets past Castle Age, this is a really tough matchup for Mayans. Ghoulams absolutely destroy anything that Mayans can do, but you have to get to that point. If you play into Ghoulams on this matchup and you actually get there, very difficult to deal with if you're Mayans.
There is no unit for the Mayans.
The Mayans need like 60 elite plumed archers with castles to hide behind because the Ghoulams will be coming. The Ghoulams beat Eagles.
They beat the Eagles?
Like cost effectively, in big numbers, cost effectively. And there's hand cannons from Hindustani. So you go Ghoulam hand cannon.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a clear civ advantage then for...
if you get there.
For the Viper, exactly. You have to get there, and that's going to be a bigger task here, because with Mayans, they're just so smooth, especially with the 9 villager start. We saw Hera executing perfectly the Mayan play there. And Lirry, he's kind of known to be a very aggressive player, so I would be surprised to see anything else from him. And I wonder how Viper is going to respond to... We will see archers, 100%. Will we see the Eagle edition as well by Lirry? That's the question.
Yeah, Lirry, I mean, a lot of players have kind of shied away from that Eagle approach. We saw it a lot 2-3 years ago, right? Because you played against it so often.
Yeah.
And now it's more into the archer play because they feel like the Eagles aren't getting the momentum that they need anymore, and it's more of a YOLO play to go for the Eagles.
We saw Hera having the Eagle and archer play though, right? So
yeah.
Lirry and Hera are practicing a lot together as well, so I suppose we could see them here, even though they're not that common anymore. Okay, both players up to Feudal Age. With Viper, we will see scouts. Anything else would surprise me.
Yeah, scouts are so adaptable,
yeah,
especially against meso civs, right? You can really manage what they're sending at you early because they don't have scouts of their own. And I mean, I'm looking at Viper's map here, Jordan. It is very open on the front side, and that gold is definitely a target.
I kind of love the fact that both players have a very forward gold there, right?
So I think Lirry's is more manageable with that wood line.
It is, yeah. Especially having the forest here in front, so you can kind of close in the walls here. Dave, what do you think Viper has to do in order to take a win here? Because the last 2 games didn't really go his way.
Just hold. Just hold until you can get onto the stone, and somehow you got to secure that main gold at the front. You have a gold at the back, but the main gold is what this entire push from Lirry, I believe, is going to focus around.
So you would play defensively in that regard and try to survive until Castle Age to get the castle up and to get the Ghoulam production going.
Like I said, I have differing opinions on this Civ matchup because every time I've seen it, the Hindustanis absolutely destroy the Mayans if they get to Ghoulams. But I know there's people in the back, pros included, that don't believe the same thing, right? Like T90 thinks that the Mayans are favored here. If you ask Yo, he will tell you that the Mayans should never win this matchup ever.
Yeah.
Because he will just play fast castle into Ghoulam. He'll just wall up.
Yeah.
Fast castle Ghoulam, he's like, they should never win.
Kind of feels like he's playing Burgundians, right?
Yeah,
Try to get Costa as soon as possible, and then
that's just a different approach to the game, right? And I don't think Viper can do that against Lirry, as this dance is quite cute on the top. The Eagle says, hey man, come up here.
I'm kind of surprised the Viper is not.
The scout came up there.
Yeah, he came up and he showed who's boss here.
Yeah, exactly.
That was an easy snack for the Viper here. And the Eagle is not as fast as the scout here, so obviously he has a little bit of the advantage there. And we see the archer range for Lirry adding a spear as well and securing his gold.
Yeah, big walls from Viper all the way to the wood line once again. No urgency.
No urgency.
Huge wall early, and it's just like, I'll just let one villager. Like if MBO was making that wall, if he committed onto that wall, you'd see 6 vills building that immediately, right? But from Viper, he knows he can track this army with the scouts. He knows the timing of that army, and he's just going to slowly meander along those wall segments and get it complete. He's also going for the range in front of his gold, partially securing that area, but the timing here from Lirry with the archers coming forward is really, really good. And you notice he's just ignoring the scouts completely. They might go to his base, but it's not going to pull back his main army. That will apply pressure to Viper and force Viper's reinforcements to stay at home.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're the archer player in that regard, you want to put the focus on the scout player, try to make him or force him to play defensive. And you can usually do that if you have your economy quick walled as well, and just, you know, with the fletching timing, dictate the pace of the game. But it's hard to do because the scouts are the faster units, and we will see a little bit of micro shenanigan here. With the fletching, Viper is forced to go back here.
God, he feels so exposed at the front side there. They got the gold, he's got the berries as well, and still a bunch of food left on those berries. As we're getting cheers, we don't know what it's for, but let's go, Jordan.
Let's
3 skirms, man.
3 skirms, oh my
And 2 scouts.
Yeah, that's...
No, 5.
Wow!
Oh my
Let's clap!
God.
Yeah,
so that was insane.
That was insane indeed. We see Lirry playing it very safe, trying to get you know, all the walls around his base, which makes his left side the only entrance. And therefore Lirry should be very comfortable with his position, adding eagles as well. So we see the eagle-archer combination. On the meantime, we see Viper with scout skirms, and Viper in that scenario, he wants to push forward as soon as possible, because once Lirry reaches castle age, that's where he will really, really struggle.
So game 1, Lirry against Hera, in the last set that he played, he went for walls similar to Viper around the gold. So he made the walls, if we can look at Viper's gold right now, he made the walls like 2 tiles away, which is great to defend it, but when crossbows show up, they can still hit it.
Yep.
Lirry's gold, a little bit further back, right? I think Viper should have taken the extra time and made the walls a little bit further, because in that game against Hera, we saw Lirry get kicked off that gold by some sneaky crossbows, and that's exactly what Lirry is playing into here.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a small detail, but it can be so important, right? So we will see a little bit later if that is going to be you know, causing a little bit of pain here for the Viper. We see the market is being placed by Lirry, so he's focusing a lot on getting up as soon as possible. And you know, I've played Lirry a couple of times already in my life, and a couple.
Yeah.
And it is very scary to face him with those timing attacks, especially with the crossbows.
Is it like a jump scare when he gets up to castle age? You're
It
like, oh.
You're like, oh shit! You know exactly something bad is happening.
You open the door and a dog is there. It always seems surprising how fast. Like, there's no reason. He's playing into archers, full wall, right? He made the spearman. He went forward. There's no reason he should be clicking up in like 10 seconds.
Yeah. But
Instant.
it is. It's
and you look at Viper's res.
It
Not
feels
the same story.
It feels like Lirry and maybe Hera are the only ones who are capable of, you know, have such a smooth setup in order to get up to cast age so fast. However, we gotta keep in mind with Hindustani scouts, they take down the buildings a little bit faster, and that pressure is very, very big. So Viper has an army which Lirry cannot fight right now.
Yeah. And Viper needs to, it's tricky here because he needs to apply just enough pressure to make sure that those archers stay at home. If those archers leave and he's not tracking that, suddenly the gold becomes an issue, his wood line at the back becomes an issue, the crossbow timing is definitely an issue. So you got to pick your spots where you can actually attack, and I think the archer range is a pretty good one. The archer range will force Lirry to stay back with at least a few. It's only 4 though. I think there's still a few archers that Lirry's going to try and sneak around to Viper's base.
Yeah, that's a very smart play by Lirry, and we can see Viper is committing 100% bloodline, scale boarding armor as well.
Scouts are taking that out so quickly. 3 villagers to repair that? Dang!
And he sold his stone, so he's not capable of building a tower as well. So this is a very important situation now for both players, and I feel like Viper should have the advantage here.
Archers coming forward, though. Lirry also added 5 eagles, which we haven't seen yet. So I think they're in that army heading forward from Lirry. We've got the eagles there, and then we've got an army to the north as well, heading towards Viper's base as Viper is trying to push in here. He's weakening the villagers. The archer range has lost a lot of HP, but it's still up as the eagles looping around behind there. Once Lirry gets to Castle Age, those eagles are going to get a big buff. Hey, he got one.
He managed to get one. Wow. Nice pickoff by Viper here. And is he able to deal damage before they reach Castle Age? No.
A little bit of damage. The eagles turn around now. I think the scouts can still do decently against this, right? Viper's got the upgrades, and the scouts are going to clear up the eagles, which is actually great tracking from Viper and a really good clear up on those eagles before they start to mass. Crossbow and bodkin on the way from Lirry. Goes for a second range behind this. Viper's resources angling towards Castle Age, but he still can't click up.
And Lirry now with the crossbows. He has a couple of them in front. And yeah, Viper is really struggling to get into...
Stone. He's thinking about it.
He built a tower right now, right? He wants to secure his base as much as possible, because against that army he's not able to keep them out as for too long here. And now is Viper going to jump onto that army? I don't think that would be a good idea.
I don't think he can. Well, he has the skirms here now. Okay, so he's brought the skirms all the way back. And we know Lirry's crossbow micro, but even from this position, it's going to be tough, right? There's the skirmishers there. There's the scouts that are threatening just a little bit. Viper has 8 on stone right now. He knows the matchup. He's definitely thinking about the Ghoulams.
Yeah, that's a very smart play by Viper. And we will see both players dancing with each other here, but I still expect Viper to take the advantage here.
Well, one spearman goes down from Lirry. You got to definitely manage the spears if Lirry's going to leave him hanging out in front. And Viper's trying to bait the spearmen into positions that the skirmishers can attack them. Couple spearmen go down. The scouts are still chasing the crossbows. And honestly, that's a fantastic clear up from Viper. He's going to lose maybe one more scout. Maybe not. He only lost 2 scouts and a skirmisher taking out that entire army. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful indeed. On the right-hand side, we see crossbows trying to deal some damage. But yeah, Viper is just positioning himself so safely here. However, the tower on the stone is not perfectly placed. So if the crossbows are placed behind the stone here, they should be able to range the stone without the tower reaching the crossbows.
And this kind of strikes me, all of these towers kind of strike me as like a, do what you got to do to get to that castle. Even if you're going to delay it a little bit, the problem, like you said, is the tower on the stone is not perfect at all.
And that can cost him the game, honestly, because without having the access to the stone, where's the second one? That one is kind of exposed on the left-hand side, right? So
way over there.
That's not really an option as well. We see the Eagle upgrade as well for Lirry, and 1 TC play for both players.
Yeah, Lirry sees that he's on stone, but he also sees 2 towers there. Lirry will know what Viper wants to do. Is there a hole back there? Kind of looked like there was for a second. Lirry's trying to check if there is one because he can't notice the bush in between, but definitely no hole, and he's just going to harass the wood line. Meanwhile, Lirry's economy at home, perfectly scaling towards just making more crossbows as he goes for the quick walls. The scouts can't get in from Viper, and he's still applying pressure on this side. Do you think Viper should open like just elite skirm in this situation? I mean, there's still eagles on the field, but you've got 9 skirmishers. You're fighting up against crossbows.
It is tricky. I think that would be his alternative solution if he's not able to get a castle up, and it kind of looks like that. Is there an option for him to buy a castle? He has 400 gold in the bank, so
maybe.
I think there is not going to be an elite skirmisher upgrade. We will see him buying the castle and try to get the Ghoulam out as soon as possible.
His wood eco has been rough. That's the wood line back there. He had 0 on wood for a little bit. He's been under 100 wood in the bank for the longest time here. He finally gets to Castle Age so much later than Lirry. Lirry has 42 villagers. Viper has 45. And Lirry is going to dive into the economy here. Viper, he thought he could keep Lirry away with these 3 towers and the town center, but no fear from this kid as he comes in between 2 towers. This could be great or this could be a disaster.
Yeah, this is looking so bad for the Viper here, and we have to say, Lirry
bought the castle.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Lirry has played that one perfectly, right? Because he knew exactly Ghoulam is going to be the unit which is going to kill him. And therefore, he didn't play it greedy. He played one TC all out, and he's able to deal so much damage.
But the question remains, how good are the Ghoulams here? How good are they? Lirry is underneath the tower. He doesn't want to leave there. He's probably going to lose the villagers on that side. Viper shifts more villagers over to the gold. He's got the farms placed, so he can bring the villagers back there. Wheelbarrow complete, so the food income is going to be decent. As Lirry snipes a couple villagers, he snipes 4 out of the 5, and the Ghoulams are being massed. You have to get the +2 armor, and then you have to wait for like 4 or 5 to go clear up that army.
Yeah, and I think Lirry, the only unit he can really build in order to support his army properly is to have a lot of monks, right? Because the monks is the crucial unit here. Crossbows and eagles are not really trading too well against the Ghoulam.
I think you almost have to just keep making crossbows and hope that Viper's eco can't catch up because you did so much damage before. The Ghoulams are chasing after those crossbows. Ghoulams are doing decently against the eagles. Viper obviously missing forging, he's missing iron casting, and he's missing the numbers critically on the Ghoulams because he just didn't have the economy after that huge raid from Lirry.
Yeah, he only has 5 Ghoulam versus the 14 eagles and 14 crossbows. That's going to be so tough for him. If we take a look at the economy, there's not a big difference, especially resource collected. Lirry's not too far ahead there.
And he's off the gold. This is why I wanted him to wall a little bit further out, so that the crossbows couldn't just range the villagers that would be mining that gold, and Viper could maybe wall behind. But those eagles are being ranged by the castle, so that's not the greatest situation for Lirry to stay under that tower. Viper's going to drive him away, and Viper suddenly has 7 Ghoulams. Maybe he could catch one of these armies from Lirry off guard. Viper also hasn't patched the hole in the wall at the back of his base. He's forced to quick wall everything. Great quick walls coming out from the snake. Lirry needs to leave, and the Ghoulam mass just keeps slowly, the keyword is slowly, ticking upwards.
Very slowly. We are at 8 right now, and now Lirry...
You need like 15.
At least, yeah. And now Lirry recognizes the situation, adding a second TC here. The question is it maybe a little bit too late? Because Viper feels like he's in a better and better position here, Dave.
Viper's just going to keep massing the Ghoulams, and Lirry hasn't rolled.
Oh, yeah, that hurts. That hurts a lot.
Double bid axe just now coming in for Lirry, 27 minutes.
He doesn't have any eco upgrades.
Boy, and the Ghoulams are clearing up the crossbows on the left side. They're also fighting some eagles over there. +2 armor for both. So the eagles outnumber the Ghoulam, and they're going to take that out. But here comes some more from the other side. Viper also feeling comfortable enough to stretch out to the extra gold and come forward with a few Ghoulams. Can this unit bring it back in this matchup? You mentioned the late second TC timing from Lirry because it felt like he needed to go army. He's actually not that far ahead in terms of villager count.
This is looking better and better for the Viper here, and that is so surprising for me. Once Lirry had those +2 eagles and was jumping into the base of Viper, I thought Viper was dead there. Rushing the castle with 30 villagers, but he managed to get the units out which he needs in order to push back here. And the next minutes are going to be so important for both players.
This is why I've seen Yo in this matchup just go like naked fast castle into castle.
Yeah, it's just
very similar
unit.
to like his Burgundian build or something, right? Where he's just like, as long as I get there, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah. I remember him having, 20, 30 villagers less, but he knows exactly he has the proper unit.
Oh boy. Oh boy, those crossbows are not fast enough to outrun these Ghoulams, and the Ghoulams get pass-through damage, so the crossbows are going to be caught out. The eagles need to run, and these crossbows are going to go down to the Ghoulam. Score switch here in favor of the Viper, and that's just a bad feeling if you're Lirry. You know that this unit counters you. You know that Viper is suddenly cooking, and you see his score is ahead of yours after you killed that much early. That is not good.
That's not a good story for him at all. And
forward castle.
You see the forward castle.
Lirry can't do anything about that. If
Nothing.
Viper keeps the Ghoulam's close, Lirry cannot do anything about that castle. And it might even go on the stone over here. Lirry does not have enough for a counter castle just yet. I don't think Lirry has a market either. So, oh, he does have a market, okay, because he sold the stone earlier.
Yeah, trying to heal up his units desperately, however.
That's a lot of Ghoulam's. +2 armor.
There's just no way. And Viper plays exactly the right way.
Oh boy! There's the castle, up on the hill, on the stone, on the TC from Lirry. Viper's got the Ghoulam's over on the left side, but still some Ghoulam's to protect this. over on the right. Lirry can definitely see that. He's also got some monks to support. He's very distracted. That castle should go up as Viper baits the monks over to the left side. Does Viper have enough Ghoulams over on this side to keep the castle from being denied? He could also quick wall here. He could also quick wall here. Viper's got to stop the Eagles from coming in towards his villas. What is he looking at? The quick wall comes up. It's a gate. He can't hit the villagers and the castle's going to go up.
That was so close.
And look at this at the same time, Jordan.
Yeah, this is just perfectly executed by the Viper, managing to get the castle up, managing to get a lot of villager kills here. And if you take at the village, look at the villager count, Viper is ahead here. So he's in driver's seat, and Lirry is really trying to get back into this game, but it's going to be an impossible task, I suppose.
think this is the exact matchup that Viper wanted on this map. Exactly the matchup he wanted for this exact reason. Lirry is panicking. We don't often see him panicking, but this is surely some nerves setting in here potentially for Lirry, as he can't do anything against this unit. He's got 50 villagers, 55 vills for Viper, 7 Ghoulams in the queue, and 17 on the field. Nothing to be done. The palisades are going to die. The villagers are going to die. And Lirry calls the GG. It's a 2-1.
It's interesting because a couple of minutes ago we had exactly the opposite. Viper with 4 army versus the 30 against Lirry. And now it was just switching within a few minutes. So, yeah, Dave, I honestly thought Viper was dead.
Yep.
It's like, with all the eco being raided here by Lirry's Eagles, it was just looking so desperately. But he kept his composure and he managed to have strategically the better execution and managed to win the game.
I'm so glad he proved me right there, because I've been saying for like 2 years that is straight up the worst Civ matchup in the game.
Yeah. Now you have the advantage over T90 there.
All right, so we're going to land madness. So my suspicion was correct, where Viper wants to go to the home maps from Lirry, so he has his own coming home. And I think Lirry felt pressure here to go for his first civilization pick in the Persians. And we find ourselves in not the greatest matchup for the Persians ever against the Saracens of the Viper. I think this is, you know, favored towards Viper.
If we're thinking about late Imp, there's no way Persians have any chance.
Can't. They have to kill early.
Yeah.
And like even in Castle Age, you're thinking about those options. Those camels are so strong nowadays for the Saracens.
Yeah, I think what Lirry's options have to be is to be super aggressive in Feudal Age and have the Scout Archer combination, right? And take it from there. Viper, however, with Saracens, you have so many tools with the market in order to get a little bit of an advantage early on. So,
what is that wood line from Lirry?
Holy! Looks amazing.
That's a continent.
That's amazing. That will last for the next 2 hours.
Oh my goodness! I wonder if that's like, we had an instance earlier where it was, you know, adminry because they had a huge wood line, but the other player only had 1.
Yeah.
Right. Like Viper's got 3. Viper's got like roughly the same amount of wood in those 3 that Lirry has in that 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get you information on that. I don't think it's going to be too unfair. It's just a really nice map from Lirry.
It's kind of part of the game as well, and it's not like any resources is bugged as well. So
exactly,
both players can play properly here.
Lirry's got a fantastic base if he wants the full wall to the edge, though.
Oh, true.
And I think Viper actually doesn't have a bad one if he wants the full wall either.
Will be a little bit tougher for him, right? He kind of has to wall onto the TC then, I suppose, right? Or how are you imagining it, Dave?
Or he's Saracens. I'm imagining like 15 markets along, along the one side,
it
right?
would be around 1,000 wood.
Yeah.
So there could be an option. And that's the thing what I love about market as well from the Saracens, right? Just 75 wood. That's really nice.
I feel like people don't use it enough as a wall.
Yeah, I agree.
It's crazy strong.
Yeah. Absolutely, especially in Feudal Age, right? If you have palisade walls and the other opponent is applying the pressure on you, you can just build a market behind it and you're safe forever.
Yep. So Feudal Age on the way for both. We've got 3 seconds vital TC for Viper, so there's the difference right now. He spent a little bit of time pushing in the near, now he's going out to scout. They're on opposite sides of the map, so they'll likely find each other quite quickly as Viper makes the barracks in front of the berries. He's going to try and secure that area. Lirry doesn't even pause.
Yep.
He just is like, I'm going up, whatever, and he sips his water in the middle of the game. He doesn't care.
Most players would have paused here, right? But he's just like, yeah, whatever. Nothing important is going to be happening now anyway. We see 10 on wood for him, so most likely scout opening very standard for both players. No one is in gold, so anything else would be surprising. And the scouts make sense here. Mobile unit, get information very easily of what your opponent is doing. And we see the early walls coming for both players.
God, it's just so good nowadays, the scout timing in these high-level games. It feels like the scout always shows up at the instant that the player's production building is going up.
Yep.
So they immediately have that information. It is so much better than the way it used to be, where people would just randomly stumble across the building, right? This is very calculated. Lirry sees the stable before it goes up. Viper sees the stable before it goes up. And now Viper actually already walling to the edge of the map. Big walls here.
These are kind of the walls you were thinking about, Dave. So Viper and you are definitely aligned here in terms of, you know, saving up your base here.
Also hairline soon.
Hairline, yeah. Viper's working toward that for sure. He's in a good direction. And regarding the scout timing, it's also way harder on Land Madness, right? Because on Arabia, for example, it's easier to realize where your opponent is, and on Land Madness it's a little bit different because the resources are more scattered.
All right, great job here from Viper to realize that the map is very wallable, and I think Lirry, has he spotted the palisade walls yet? Because that'll give him a lot of information. He hasn't. He will likely see it over here. Right now, to his eyes, it appears that Viper is going to be playing open, maybe stable into archers or something like that. But if Viper, you know, if he sees the walls, he might identify Viper is just going to drop the market and try and go up to Castle Age a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's also a very smart play by the Viper. He doesn't even show the walls, right? That's something he likes to do occasionally. And if Lirry would see those walls, then he would have also the higher urgency here. But now he gets a little bit more information getting into the woodline, but I don't think he's going to be able to cause any havoc here.
No, the scouts are chasing after. Viper's still trying to wall on the other side, and this tells Lirry exactly what he needs to know. He saw the palisade wall at the top. He sees the palisade wall over here. He's not even going to try for that villager, I think, because he knows Viper will just quick wall that. That's the reputation helping Viper as Lirry gets doinked by the spearman a little bit, and he needs to retreat.
He needs to retreat, of course. Archer range up for him, so he's applying the pressure as we mentioned earlier. However, is he going to be able to be in time here to cause some damage, because Viper is about to close up the ball here.
Yeah, but I mean, with the archer ranges there, with the only gold from Viper being over on this side and the berries over here, there was a nice little snipe on the scout from Viper as the archers finally show up. No spearmen for Lirry to accompany this. I'm wondering where his spearmen are. Maybe that's the red dot that's joining all of this stuff, but spearmen could be really helpful. Otherwise, the scouts can just dive on that archer and that skirmisher, and there goes the spearman right there from Lirry.
Exactly, and we see more scouts in production for the Viper as well. So he's forced to build a tower here. We see an engagement on the hill here. I think it should be a little bit better for Lirry, but Viper is buying himself some time here.
Yeah, nice snipe with the spearman. The tower is going up. I think Viper bought himself enough time to complete that. He's trying to pull the spearman from Lirry out of position so he can snipe the archers, but the tower is complete, and Viper also has the market. So Viper, we might see him start to sell res soon, maybe start to angle towards Castle Age. I think there is a window here for Lirry if Viper doesn't have the range, that Lirry can do some serious damage in Feudal, or even just idle the economy enough to put him far behind, and there's the range from Viper.
Yes, he has to, right? Because otherwise he would be able, or Lirry would be able to idle too much economy, especially the farms from the Viper. So he's forced to at that. And now with the scouts from Viper, I think he will try to go for a counterattack because there's not too much value they are adding at home anymore.
Counterattacking here, but spearmen are already at home from Lirry. And the one thing Lirry is so good at is those defensive spearmen, and he will relocate them. A lot of people just keep them like stuck to a woodline or whatever, but when he goes out for a wall like he is, he's going to bring the spearman along with that villager, and he's just going to sit it there. So if Viper can't pick off that villager for free with the scouts, now that Lirry sees that, he's going to have to react. Doesn't even bother garrisoning in the TC. Maybe didn't notice.
I love to see that because most of the time it's wasted anyway.
The TC never hits.
Exactly. So it's just more efficient that way. And we see those scouts on the top here, maybe able to pick off that villager.
Viper pulled the spearman out of position. 4 scouts after that. Lirry's spearman is chasing, and Lirry does get the hit, and the villager continues to wall towards the edge of the map. Meanwhile, Viper with some skirmishers, and they're protected by the TC. So the range army from Lirry, not too big of a threat. Viper still hasn't used that market, but it is a possibility at some stage if he feels like he's secure at home and he doesn't need to produce any more military.
I also find it very interesting that Lirry doesn't feel like he wants to defend his base with the scouts, right? That would be a little bit safer, but that's not really his playstyle. He wants to put on the aggression.
He wants to keep the range units at Viper's base as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Wants to keep those at home, because if they come forward, Viper can snipe the spearman, then you're idled. Like at this rate, it's Viper. You're keeping the front of his eco open.
Yeah. Another question for Viper would be, what is he transitioning into? Most likely will just try to be a fast castle, right?
Yeah.
You want to get the camels out as soon as possible with the extra HP for the Saracens. And the Persians are going to struggle a lot. We don't see... Okay, yeah, never mind. Lirry adding the archers here. Do we see a quick ball here? Nope. I like what he did there. Just, no, I'm not even bothering. I'll try to fight back. And that's the way to go there.
The typical Lirry approach, he'll micro until he realizes it's useless, and then he just gives up. He doesn't even try. His Viper comes in for another villager snipe on the wood line. Lost a scout, but takes out the villager. Might take out a second villager as well. Great job from Lirry to reposition that guy behind. And the spearman comes up behind this too. Viper loses all of the scouts trying to snipe those villagers, and Lirry clicking up to Castle Age significantly faster than the Saracen player. Viper just now hitting the market. He's going to go for a second range. So is this a cav archer approach from him, or is this just into crossbows? Is it skirmisher? Like what is the idea here for Viper?
I'm taking a look right now at his production. He has one archer in the queue. Usually he should have two. Okay, never mind. So it looks like he wants to go for the crossbow play, which should be fine for Lirry here, because he has way more archers himself, 10 on the field right now, and he will be able, with the timing advantage he has, to put a lot of aggression here. And now top is going to be housed by the Viper. However, the tower is not perfectly placed, so that one can be ranged, or the gold can be ranged from the potential crossbows. But it looks like Lirry is heading to the south side of Viper space.
That tower's kind of hidden behind the archer range, like visually.
Yeah.
He might actually forget that's there at some point and try and come in there, but it doesn't really defend the gold all that well as Viper tries to micro down these archers. The timing here for Lirry is going to be insane. He will have crossbow and bodkin, and Viper will still be 50 seconds away from the Castle Age. So he needs to abandon the entire front side of his base. Lirry is so good at this, Jordan. He is so patient with his archers. So many people would want to click around and look for villagers, but Lirry says, okay, I've got a great position here. I might lose my army. I'd rather just take out the farms.
Yeah, it's just perfect play, right? That way he gets the biggest amount of damage he can get. And also, University has been built by him as well, so ballistics is going to be a prioritization for him, and that's very interesting to see, Dave, as well, because Lirry is known to be the guy who delays ballistics the most.
University coming up for Viper. He's playing into crossbows as well, but Lirry has more crossbows currently. Now, the crossbows from the Saracens do have the bonus against buildings, so I think they're going to be a little bit better if the counterattack comes from Viper. But in terms of crossbow v crossbow fights, completely even at this stage, right? And Lirry's even going to have the armor advantage he's getting right now.
For sure. Ballistics still not in. There's a lot of lack of gold for Lirry. Viper will be a little bit faster here. But Dave, I would never be comfortable in microing against Lirry.
Yeah, but you know, Viper doesn't show it very often, but I've said that a lot in the past. Like, he's got an ego.
He does.
He does. And that's what made him the best in the world for a very long time. He believes that he can go toe-to-toe with anyone in any facet of the game. And even against Lirry, we've seen it many times before. The micro battles between them have been epic.
Yeah. We see a very crucial upgrade here for Viper. If he manages to get the Elite Skirms upgrade.
Oh, and then he can just defend with these and push out with the crossbows. Saracen crossbows against the walls from Lirry. Did Lirry house wall behind all of his palisades?
I don't think so. On the top, it should be available.
Yeah.
We don't see any armor upgrade on the skirms, though. And that can backfire really, really quick here.
Yeah. Ballistics is in for the skirms, but look at this from Lirry. He's dancing. He's dancing in the middle of Viper's economy. He's just pushing in towards these skirms. He's identified. There's no armor on those skirms, and now he's in on the wood line, and Viper is charging this with villagers. He's going to lose some of them. He's waiting for his skirms to show up. Lirry is there. He's trying to body block with the vills so they can take out the crossbows with the skirms. Otherwise, Leary's just going to micro everything down.
And that is the biggest difference, right? Having the armor upgrade, at least the first one, you need to have it in order for the skirms to, be able to be okay against the crossbows. But man, he's killing so many villages here.
The value from these crossbows. You see 16 kills on that crossbow army. We can see the dead ones as well. So that's the amount of kills that Lirry got with that raid, as Lirry now goes for a second TC, goes for the siege workshop. 51 bills for Lirry. He's taking into the cavalry armor, so maybe some knights coming out here. 40 villagers for Viper as he adds the second TC himself. Still only 12 crossbows, 17 crossbows for Lirry.
And Lirry's looking very dominant right now. Siege workshop has been added as well, so we will see a mangonel coming as well very, very soon. Those crossbows, they have to retreat, otherwise they were going to be completely wrecked here by Lirry's army.
Just missing that first armor. I think if he has that first armor, the crossbows never push in. Well, it's Lirry, so they might still, but he doesn't feel the same confidence, and he can't get to the woodline, and Viper can mass a few more skirms. Instead, Viper just loses that army as the dancing continues on this side. Both players with ballistics here. The deer kind of blocking Viper a little bit on that side, but both of them decide to retreat. Lirry retreating because he has knights on the way. He's got a mangonel on the way and a fantastic eco behind this.
Yeah, the most important upgrade for the knights is going to be scale barding armor. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to engage against Viper's army. And yeah, I understand it, you know? It's
They
like
blocked
getting
him
rid of
before.
that.
Yeah, they blocked him before. Just get rid of it. Lirry was doing it on Land Madness earlier too. It's like, I can't micro with these things around.
That's a problem, right? If you misclick in a very important moment, for example, against the mangonel, and all of a sudden you lose 20 crossbows. So you don't want to take a risk here. And Viper doesn't have too many crossbows here, only 10. If Lirry somehow manages to squeeze in the scale barding armor, that's the moment where Viper will be in a very bad position here.
Viper is just eliminating all of the wildlife.
Why is he doing that?
Except for that spearman from Lirry, which just died to a tiger. So a little bit of revenge, I suppose, from Mother Nature. Viper goes in with the weak crossbow. He's like, no. This is a very important set. I'm going to explore a little bit before I just dive headfirst in through that one tile gap.
Very smart, very important maneuver here from the Vipers. 600 score trailing behind compared to Lirry. 30C has been added by Lirry. Bloodlines on the way. And yeah, it's just scale barding armor missing there. So that's going to be upgraded very soon as well. Siege Workshop has a flag in there. So Viper knows there is some big pressure coming very soon. And I think the only chance Viper has is to get a cast up as soon as possible.
He's got to get that main crossbow army back over here quickly. But there's a mangonel and there's a crossbow army in the way. There's a crossbow army almost intercepting the army from Viper. As Viper tries to micro against this, there's also a mangonel. He will need to retreat. He's got 3 ranges producing crossbows. Crossbow production is no longer happening from Lirry. He's fully shifted over towards the knights. They don't have the +2 armor. And Viper's got a camel on the field, so maybe he can deal with this, but that's an impressive army from Lirry. Viper can't fight anywhere near this hill.
Yeah, no chance. The only option Viper has right now, currently, is with the siege workshop, but that one is going to be the main focus of Lirry. 4 mangonels on the field right now for him.
He'll make a 5th. He might even make a 6th.
He will make 10.
Yeah.
He will, at least. He loves them.
Yeah.
So
man, the farming eco from Lirry is insane too. 34 on farms right now.
Crazy.
Insane.
Economy-wise, Lirry ahead. Gathered 3,300 more resources. So that's a huge advantage. Gotta keep in mind, Persians produce the villages a little bit faster. So that's helpful. And we see the crucial upgrade here. +2. So the next 50 seconds, Lirry will try to avoid the engagement, I suppose. Oh, nice attack
snipe
round.
by Viper. Can Lirry get this one? He does. Viper trying to micro down the other mangonel. It's 1 hit away. He doesn't quite get it, but the skirmisher finishes it off. One final volley. Lirry was not producing crossbows in this entire moment, right? He's going into knights. He's trying to get the +2 armor. If Viper manages to snipe the mangonel and get enough crossbows here, there is a world where he can win these fights, get himself to the late game, and we talked about it earlier. The Saracen late game should be better than Persians, but it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. What Viper needs, or Lirry needs to do now, is to get a siege workshop up in the front, and now we see the engagement and the knights. Oh, are they retreating or not?
Well, I think Lirry doesn't want to just fight the skirms and kill the skirms. That's what Viper's trying to make him do, so that the crossbows can get free shots. And Lirry doesn't feel confident sending those knights in against the crossbows. So he's going to retreat, and Viper even adding a third TC, so feeling a little bit more comfortable now. Only 13 villagers behind here for Viper with a fantastic eco from Lirry. But he's stuck on knights, so that fast imp timing that we see all the time, not going to happen this game.
It's not going to happen. I like the decision by him because Imperial Age is not going to be the moment where you shine anyway against Saracens with Persian. So you want to play all out Castle Age.
Oh boy.
Wheelbar coming in, and this
Viper's
is going to be a very crucial one.
Viper is out in the weeds here with his army. He is out in the middle of nowhere. He's tracking the knights at least with the camel. But I mean, what if Lirry decided to go to Viper's base? Thank you, Vodka, for showing me exactly where I wanted to look. What if Lirry just sent those knights and ignored the crossbows? He's going after the army because he always wants to take that big battle. But I think there's also the option to just raid Viper's base. Look at this army convalescing over here from Lirry. He has the crossbows behind. He's got a Mangonel following up. He's got the knights pushing the crossbows away. These are Persian knights to get the bonus damage against the crossbows. Viper could lose everything here. He needs to micro his heart out against these knights from Lirry. He gets on the hill, but the crossbows are right behind. I think Viper loses his entire army in this battle. It's just a question of how much Lirry loses as the big shot comes in, and Lirry is going to advance. Viper is out of the tournament. 3-1 for the kid.
Very interesting. I felt like it was a little bit of a premature GG timing from the Viper. I felt like, yeah, he lost his army. He was definitely behind. However, maybe with some market shenanigans, adding the cast somehow, he could have stayed a little bit longer, but yeah, I mean, Viper is the better one to judge there.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive management of all the armies there from Lirry, and also really impressive tech switch into the Knights. His macro, I think, was very clean that game. Took advantage of the Persian TCs, and at some point, he just suddenly had 30, 35 farms. So he could spam from 4 stables, right, with the +2 armor, with the 4 mangonels. Super solid stuff from Lirry. Now, the question moving forward is Lirry looks so good against all the other players. Can he bring this level against Hera, and will this level even be enough against Hera?
Yeah. The interesting thing is Lirry will play against Mr. first, right? And we have not seen them facing up yet in this tournament. So Yo playing absolutely phenomenal. This tournament, I'm a complete fan.
He probably gave Hera the hardest time out of anyone so far.
Exactly. Tata was very close as well, but I felt like Mr. Yo even more. He was even able to get 1 game. Should have won 2 games even. So it would not have been surprising if he won against Hera today. So yeah, let's see. Lirry playing phenomenal as well. So it's going to be a banger of a set tomorrow.
Thank you to Dave and John. Phenomenal casting from the boys. Phenomenal crowd as well. I am joined by TheViper. I think that says it all, mate. Like, no matter how many years pass, yeah, they're too loud, aren't they?
You were saying?
Gotta get you here, mate. They ain't gonna let you talk. They don't realize that you're tired and want to go to bed. They're going to keep this up all night.
Yeah, don't tell them.
But mate, we've got to talk about this set. I mean, commiserations, first of all. You know, it's never easy losing, but we talked a little bit in your winners interviews across the last few days. The competition is tight. Even when the scores don't look at whether it's 3-1, 3-0, you know, we're always seeing these games that feel like they've got that moment of turnaround. Was there a moment in this series where you felt like this is the day, this is going to be me? Or did you feel like Lirry was just turning up almost too rejuvenated?
I think Lirry played a super solid set overall. I think strategically I probably made it too easy for him, and I was probably a little bit too stubborn in the way I approached some of the games, because they worked in training, so I have to do it like that. No, I should have adapted a bit more, but I think Lirry just had a super solid approach, and he out-strategized me today.
Hey, there we go. Win or lose, it must always be heartwarming just how many people turn up for you. You know, when I went around and asked people, you were like the most common one to come up outside of everyone saying it's just going to be Hera. You know, what do you have to say to the fans there? Because I feel like it doesn't matter, even if, like, similar to Hera's doing it now, if we saw you win like 20 events in a row, I feel like people would still be cheering for you.
I mean, I've had quite a lot of support over the years, and I couldn't be more thankful for how many people always show up and cheer for not only me, but everyone here, right? Every LAN event is an amazing experience because of people like we have right here, and everyone watching at home as well. So yeah, I'm honored and blessed to have so much support.
Well, mate, we may not see you on the stage, but people approach him around the venue. You can see how friendly he is. I think it's time to go see the wifey and the kids and enjoy the evening. A pleasure as always, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thank you. Louder! Oh. Well, now I need you guys to get even louder because we're hopping from one to the other. Join me in welcoming up here. Your champion of the series is Lirry. I think they know the bar's almost open.
I think so as well. That's why they're clapping.
Well, there's plenty of partying to come, and for good reason. You should be partying as well. I mean, let's talk a little bit about this matchup against Viper, because the interesting thing, I said at the start of the series, every time you guys meet, it goes all the way. What felt different this time around?
I think I had a pretty good draft. Games were pretty straightforward. Still, every match could have gone either way, I felt like. Especially the migration game. I thought the game was over in Castle Age. And then suddenly he always has score lead and he was still ahead. I have no clue how. I felt like I didn't do a single mistake, played perfect, and somehow he's leading. So it was a bit confusing, but in the end it turned out well.
Well, how are you handling like the overall flow of things here? Because it's been a long day. We were just talking a little bit over there about how kind of tiring it is, and it almost feels like anyone here, if you just show a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of not 100%, they're gonna wipe you.
Yeah, we saw with ACCM earlier, and every match so far has been a banger. And if you don't show up your 100%, very likely you go down. So highest competition ever, and there's a reason for that.
Oh yes. Talk to me about tomorrow, because we've got to lean on a little bit. It's Yo, it's Hera. What are you taking forward from that Hera series? What have you been looking and seeing for Yo? Like, how are you feeling confident-wise going into the final day?
I'm gonna pick Fortress against Yo. See if he can protect his king better this time.
I'm going to be a discount Jordan here because you started to talk about the games a bit. We're going to look to actually go over the games here. We've got a segment sponsored by Samsung, so insights for Samsung here. We're going to go through your games, starting with game one. And I'm going to run you through your thought process. You're going to tell me kind of what you were thinking here. So, production, take it away. Yeah, hype up the... There we go. Okay, so we're hopping straight into game two here. This must have been the most morale-boosting moment of the series.
That's when I thought the game was over, but somehow he came back, I guess. Game wasn't over back then, so I mean, looking at the stats, it seems somewhat even. But yeah, those choke points, that's why I prefer to go fire ships over galleys.
And talk to me about the thought process approaching the center, because I thought this was phenomenal. The way you spread your units out, it felt like you had completely starved him off of the map once we got to the central island.
Yeah, that's the advantage you have in fire ships, right? Fighting on one spot won't get you far. He can just hit and run forever. But if you trap him like that, there's not really much you can do, especially because the water is still very wide for migration, so there's always a trap to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might have been the most claustrophobic a player looks so far in migration. We hop into Arabia here. Like, everyone loves the opening micro there. Sick little grab by him. You comment on the couch, I always talk about your losses. We kind of have to talk about this, but I'm going to get you to talk about it instead. So run me through what you were thinking as this game kind of approached, because it felt like you kind of got countered in the mid-game. Did it kind of just feel over from that point?
Yeah, I knew once he gets to Ghoulam, it's going to be almost impossible. But I felt like I got myself into a pretty good spot. And I mean, looking at the stats here, I still have decent army, I still have a few villagers less, but he's not Castle Age. I definitely felt like I could have done some things better and won the game as well. But then again, he played it well with the towers, and well, we saw what happened in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the point where I think, like, you're probably feeling quite confident, right? I mean, 2 to 27 overall, like,
yeah.
what was going through your mind at this moment before we got to the counter pick? Was it kind of like, okay, cruise mode, play it safe, or were you looking for kind of a double down opportunity?
This game looks over, actually.
Yeah?
What did I do?
We're about to find out, mate.
I guess.
You're here to tell me what happened.
I mean, I get a little bit ahead, but the thing is, army doesn't really matter once he gets those surrounds, and I can never be on the map again. Yeah, that's the nail on. That's the finisher move. That's pretty much perfect play, and you know his quick walls. Nothing to add there, and the raids at my TC. That's ended it.
And then this one must have been the jolt to the system, right? Because I feel like, you know, I'm not saying you were cruising game 1-2, but the confidence kind of goes, oh, okay, this is just going to be a 3-0 sweep. You know, what did you do to reset going into the final game?
I knew the last matchup was going to be a hard one, like the Hindustani Mayan one. This one, I had the edge. Why can't I back through there? But yeah, I mean, I have the better Civ. I just have to hold. He has less resources to work with. I have more villas, more resources, so if I don't mess up, then yeah, it should be...
Did you kind of scout that back tree line? You're like, oh, God, I'm in heaven here.
Yeah, that's when I knew, okay, this game is mine. If I don't mess up now, then this is it.
I mean, you know, I can't fault the clean gameplay here, right? Like, I think the interesting thing here, we heard it from the commentators, the idea that Viper was maybe holding something back for game number 5, because he's known to do that, playing your maps first. You know, was this someone you were expecting going to the series? Did he catch you off guard at all through any of these games with that element of his gameplay?
I didn't want to go into game 5, especially on enclosed. Viper is known for his late game. And the matchup could have gone either way as well, so it was pretty much a 50-50, so I knew I had to close this one out. Yeah, worked out.
Well, I think that kind of covers it. We can see the killing blow here, just a sick cleanup. And, you know, thinking about the competition here, you know, we've been talking a little bit about how tight it is, how close it is. Is there anything that you've had to adapt between like days here? Because, you know, usually it feels like once you're in a tournament, you're locked in. There's not much ability to completely flip the strategies. Have you found a need to do that day to day?
I think you always have to adapt from player to player, from draft to draft, from map to map, from stage to stage, every game, and it never ends. So,
final question: are you going to hang around for a little bit?
here tonight,
Just a little bit.
a little bit.
There we go. Because, folks, you need to get his signature, maybe tip him a drink, because he needs to get some sleep. It's a long day tomorrow.
I thought today was already long with ACCM and now Viper, and tomorrow I potentially have Hera as well after you. So,
And 16 games.
Well, gonna be record times. Gonna be records.
I'm looking forward to it. We might have to lock the door and not let anyone out. But once again, a round of applause for Lirry, your victor of the series. All right, thank you. Come on.